Now's the book of Samuel, Samuel 1. Get ready. New book. 2 books in one day. There was a certain man from Ramathaim, a Zuphite, from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, and Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. One was called Hannah, the other was called Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Year after year this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the 2 sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came from Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah, and to his sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion, because he loved her, and the Lord had closed her womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. Her husband Elkanah would say to her, "Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" Once when they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, "Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be on his head." As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk, and said to her, "How long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine." "Not so, my lord," Hannah replied. "I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief." Eli answered, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him." She said, "May your servant find favor in your eyes." Then she went away and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Early the next morning they arose and worshipped before the Lord, and then went back to their home at Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife, Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Yay! So in the course of this time, she named him Samuel. Yay! Yay! Yes! We love that. Good job, Hannah, you did it. Saying, "Because I asked the Lord for him." When her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifices to the Lord and to fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, "After the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always." "Do what seems best to you," her husband Elkanah told her. "Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word." So the woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she had weaned him. What is weaned? After he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli, and she said to him, "Pardon me, my lord, as surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord." And he worshipped the Lord there. Then Hannah prayed and said, "My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance, for the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who were hungry are hungry no more. She who is barren has borne 7 children, but she who has many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes, and have them inherit the throne of honor. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's, on them
Good morning, Manuka.
he has set out for the world. Good morning, Kami. Good morning. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. The Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. Then Elkanah went home to Ramah. But the boy ministered before the Lord and Eli the priest. Eli's sons were scoundrels. They had no regard for the Lord. Now it was the practice of the priests that whenever any of the people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come with a 3-pronged fork in his hand while the meat was being boiled, and would plunge the fork into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. Whatever the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. This is how they treated all the Israelites who came to Shiloh. But even before the fat was burned, the priest's servant would come and say to the person who was sacrificing, "Give the priest some meat to roast. He won't accept boiled meat from you, but only raw." If a person said to him, "Let the fat be burned first, and then take whatever you want," the servant would answer, "No, hand it over now. If you don't, I'll take it by force." This sin of the younger men was very great in the Lord's sight, for they were treating the Lord's offering with contempt. No, but Samuel was ministering before the Lord, a boy wearing a linen ephod. Each year his mother had made him a little robe, and took it to him. When she went up with her husband to offer the annual sacrifice, Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife, saying, "May the Lord give you children by this woman, to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord." Then they would go home. And the Lord was gracious to Hannah. She gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. Now Eli, who was very old, heard about everything his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they slept with the woman who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So he said to them, "Why do you do such things? I hear from people all about these wicked deeds of yours. No, my sons, the report I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good. If one person sins against another, God may mediate for the offender. But if anyone sins against the Lord, who will intercede for them?" His sons, however, did not listen to his father's rebuke, for it was the Lord's will to put them to death. And the boy Samuel continued to grow in stature and in favor with the Lord and with people. Now a man of God came to Eli and said to him, "This is what the Lord says. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh?" What? This is what the Lord says through a man of God. A third time, right. Not had revealed to him 7. Oops. Wait. Wait. Blessed morning, Manuka. Oops. Okay, wait. Hold on. Hi, Gecko. Good morning. A third time the Lord called, "Samuel!" And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me?" Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, "Go and lie down. And if he calls you, say, 'Speak to the Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and laid down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling as at the other times, "Samuel, Samuel." Then Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And the Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. And at that time I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family, from beginning to end. For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain them. Therefore I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by the sacrifice or offering." Samuel lay down until morning, and then he opened. And then he. Oops, I skipped a little bit. Do I go back? Okay, remember when I said, "Now a man of God came to Eli and said to him, 'This is what the Lord says. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestor family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh? I chose your ancestor out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, and to wear an ephod in my presence. I also gave your ancestors' family all the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why do you scorn my sacrifice and offering that I prescribed for my dwelling? Why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves on the choice parts of every offering made by the people of Israel? Therefore the Lord, the God of Israel, declares, I promised that members of your family would minister before me forever, but now the Lord declares, far be it from me. Those who honor me I will honor, but those who despise me will be disdained. The time is coming when I will cut short your strength and the strength of your priestly house, so that no one in it will reach old age, and you will see distress in my dwelling. Although good will be done to Israel, no one in your family line will reach old age. Every one of you that I do not cut off from serving at my altar, I will spare only to destroy your sight and sap your strength. Will you read Kama Sutra? What's that? What is Kama Sutra? Sex book? Yeah, we could read that. What is that? The book on sex? What religion is that? I think I wanna be a part of it. Guys, I think I'm changing religion. Every one of you that I do not cut off from serving at my altar, I will spare only to destroy your sight and sap your strength, and all your descendants will die in the prime of life. And what happens to your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, will be assigned to you. They will both die on the same day. I will raise up from myself a faithful priest who will do according to what is in my heart and mind. I will firmly establish his priestly house, and they will minister before my anointed one. Stop. Always. Then everyone in your family line will come and bow down before him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread, and plead, appoint me to some priestly office so I can have some food to eat. The boy Samuel ministered before the Lord under Eli. In those days the word of the Lord was rare. There was not many visions. One night, Eli, whose eyes were becoming so weak that he could barely see, was laying down in his usual place. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the house of the Lord, where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, Here I am. And he ran to Eli and said, Here I am. You called me? But Eli said, I did not call. Go back and lie down. So he went back and lay down. Again the Lord called Samuel. And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, Here I am. You called me? My son, Eli said. My son, Eli said, I did not call. Go back and lay down. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. A third time the Lord called Samuel, and Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, Here I am. You called me? Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, Go and lie down, and if he calls you, say, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling, as at the other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel said, Speak, for your servant is listening. And the Lord said to Samuel, See, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time, I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke about against his family, from beginning to end. For I told him that I would judge his family forever, because of the sin he knew about. The sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain them. Therefore I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrifice or offering. Samuel lay down until morning, and then opened the doors of the house of the Lord. He was afraid to tell Eli the vision. But Eli called him and said, "Samuel, my son." Samuel answered him, "Here I am." "What was in it? What was it he said to you?" Eli asked. "Do not hide it from me. May God deal with you, be it ever so severely, if you hide from me anything he told you." So Samuel told him everything, hiding nothing from him. Then Eli said, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." the Lord. The Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and let none of Samuel's words fall to the ground. And all Israel from Dan to Beersheba recognized that Samuel was attested as the prophet of the Lord. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh, and there he revealed himself to Samuel through his word. The Philistines captured the ark, and now the Israelites went out to fight against the Philistines. The Israelites camped at Ebenezer, and the Philistines at Aphek. The Philistines deployed their forces to meet Israel, and as the battle spread, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 of them on the battlefield. When the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel asked, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the Lord's covenant from Shiloh, so that he may go with us and save us from the hand of our enemies." So the people sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the ark of the covenant of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim. And Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of the God. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into the camp, all Israel raised such a great shout, and that the ground shook. Hearing the uproar, the Philistines asked, "What's all this shouting in the Hebrew camp?" When they learned that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. A god came into the camp, they said. "Oh no! Nothing like this has happened before. We're doomed. Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods?" They are the gods who struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. "Be strong, Philistines, be men, or you'll be subject to the Hebrews as they have been to you. Be men and fight." So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled into his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of the God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. That same day, a Benjamite ran from the battle line and went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on a chair by the side of the road, watching, because his heart feared for the ark of the God. When the man entered the town and told what had happened, the whole town sent up a cry. Eli heard the outcry and asked, "What is this meaning of the uproar?" The men hurried over to Eli, who was 98 years old. and whose eyes had failed so that he could not see. He told Eli, I have just come from a battle line. I fled from it this very day. Eli asked, What happened, my son? The man who brought the news replied, Israel fled before the Philistines, and the army has suffered heavy losses. Also your 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of the God has been captured. When he mentioned the ark of the God, Eli fell backward on his chair by the side of the gate. His neck was broken, and he died. For he was an old man, and he was heavy. He had led Israel 40 years. His daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant, and near the time of delivery, when she heard the news that the ark of God had been captured, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she went into labor and gave birth. Normal reaction, but was overcome by her labor pains. As she was dying, the woman attending her said, Don't despair. You have given birth to a son. But she did not respond or pay attention. She named the boy Ichabod, saying, The glory has departed from Israel because of the capture of the ark of God and the death of her father-in-law and her husband. She said, The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured. After the Philistines had captured the ark of the God, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then they carried the ark into Dagon's temple and set it beside Dagon. When the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon, fallen on his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning when they rose, there was Dagon, fallen on his face on the ground, before the ark of the Lord. His head and his hands had been broken off, and were lying there on the threshold. Only his body remained. Who did this? That is why to this day neither the priests of Dagon, nor any others who entered Dagon's temple at Ashdod, stepped on the threshold. The Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation on them and afflicted them with tumors. When the people of Ashdod saw what was happening, they said, The ark of the God of Israel must not stay here with us, because his hand is heavy on us and on Dagon, our God. Hi, good morning. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? They answered, Have the ark of God of Israel moved to Gath. So they moved the ark of the God of Israel. But after they had moved it, the Lord's hand was against the city, throwing it into great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, with an outbreak of tumors. So they sent the ark of the God to Ekron. As the ark of the God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, They have brought the ark of the God of Israel around to kill us and our people. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, Send the ark of the Israel of God away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people. For death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. When the ark of the Lord had been in Philistine territory 7 months, the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it back to its place. They answered, If you return the ark of the God of Israel Do not send it back to him without a gift. By all means, send a guilt offering to him. Then you will be healed, and you will know why his hand has not been lifted from you. What part? We're up to Samuel 1. Samuel book. We just finished Ruth just before, because it's only 6 chapters. Now we're up to Samuel. Chapter 6. The Philistines asked, "What guilt offering should we send to him?" They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, according to the number of Philistine rulers, because the same plague has struck both you and your rulers. Make models of the tumors and of the rats that are destroying the country, and give glory to Israel's God. Perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods and your land. Why do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh did, when Israel's God dealt harshly with them? They did not send the Israelites out so that they could go on their way, did they? Now then, get a new cart ready, and 2 cows that have calved and never been yoked. Hitch the cows to the cart, but take their cows away and pen them up. If I was a Philistine, and the ark of the Lord was in my city and giving all of my people tumors, I don't know about you, but I'm switching gods. I'm switching sides, you know? Want to be on the winning side. Like, what has my god done recently? Nothing. Their god's giving me tumors. The other gods, do they do anything? Is it like a war against gods where, like, back in the day when gods did things and, like, showed themselves to people and did prophecies and stuff, they, like, it was like a war? I'm hearing tumors. Tumor Island. They, like, the Philistines had a god, and their god did things. Like, they did things, but we just don't hear about what their god did. We only hear about... Because if there were other gods that other people believed in, and they weren't doing anything, they were just beliefs, then you would straight away swap to the god that was, like, causing plagues, so you didn't get plagued, right? So, like, the Egyptian gods must have like been with the people, and the Philistines god must have been, like, doing stuff as well, no? Take the ark of the Lord, and put it on the cart, and in a chest beside it put the gold objects you're sending back to him as a guilt offering. Send it on its way. But keep watching it. If it goes up against its own territory toward Beth Shemesh, then the Lord has brought this great disaster on us. But if it does not, then we will know that it is not his hand that struck us, but that it happened by chance. If it goes up toward then... Oh, so they sent the cows. They let the cows wander through the desert by themselves. And if the ark went to where it was supposed to go, then truly God is with them. Otherwise, it was just chance that 3 cities all got tumors and rats. So they did this. They took 2 such cows and hitched them to the cart and penned up their calves. They placed the ark of the Lord on the cart, and along with it the chest containing gold rats and models of the tumors. I think they get a really good harvest and go like, wheat man is good. So you pray to the God that gives you bountiful wheat, but not the God that causes tumors on your enemies and also gives you good bountiful wheat. Then the cows went straight up toward Beth Shemesh. I bet they just didn't want to get circumcised. Or they just didn't want to stop eating pig. Summit. And that pig too good to pray to that God. Just need a bacon. Keeping on the road and lowing all the way, they did not turn to the right or to the left. The rulers of the cows went... What did I just say? The cows went straight up toward Beth Shemesh. Keeping on the road and lowing all the way, they did not turn to the right or the left. The rulers of the Philistines followed them as far as the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were harvesting their wheat in the valley, and when they looked up and saw the ark, they rejoiced at the sight. The cart came into a field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh, and there it stopped beside a large rock. The people chopped up the wood of the cart and sacrificed the cows as a burnt offering to the Lord. The Levites took down the ark of the Lord together with the chest containing the gold objects and placed them on the large rock. On that day, the people of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offerings and made sacrifices to the Lord. The 5 rulers of the Philistines saw all this, and they returned that same day to Ekron. These are the gold tumors the Philistines sent as a guilt offering to the Lord, one for each for Ashdod, Gaza, and Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. And the number of the gold rats was according to the number of the Philistine towns belonging to the 5 rulers, the fortified towns with the country villages, the large rock on which the Levites set the ark of the Lord as a witness to this day in the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh. But God struck down some of the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, putting 70 of them to death, because they looked into the ark of the Lord. The people mourned because of the heavy blow to the Lord had dealt them. And the people of Beth Shemesh asked, "Who can stand in the presence of the Lord, this holy God? To whom will the ark go up from here?" Then they sent messages to the people of Kiriath Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have returned to the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to your town." Dang, it's like having like the motherlode of all things right there, but you're not allowed to look. You can't open Pandora's box, and you open it and you're just instantly hit with holy light, such holiness you couldn't even fathom what you were seeing, and you just instantly died. So the men of Kiriath Jearim came and took the ark of the Lord. They brought it to Abinadab's house on the hill and consecrated Eleazar, his son, to guard the ark of the Lord. The ark remained at Kiriath Jearim a long time, 20 years in all. Then all the people of Israel turned back to the Lord. So Samuel said to all the Israelites, "If you are returning to the Lord with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of the foreign gods and the Ashtoreths, and commit yourselves to the Lord and serve him only. And he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines." So the Israelites put away their Baals and Ashtaroths and served the Lord only. Then Samuel said, "Assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and I will intercede with the Lord for you." When they had assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and there they confessed, "We have sinned against the Lord." Now Samuel was serving as a leader of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah, the rulers of Philistines came up to attack them. The absolute goal of the Philistines being like, God, their God is real, they just gave us plagues and shit. They just covered us our whole time with plagues. Let's fight the holy God. Let's go up against God. When the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, "Do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may rescue us from the hand of the Philistines." Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and sacrificed it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on Israel's behalf, and the Lord answered him. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to engage Israel in battle. But that day the Lord thundered with loud thunder against the Philistines, and threw them into such a panic that they were routed before the Israelites. The men of Israel rushed out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines, slaughtering them along the way to a point below Bethkar. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. He named it Ebenezer, saying, "Thus far the Lord has helped us." But God struck down some of the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, putting 70 of them to death because they looked into the ark of the Lord. The people mourned because of the heavy blow the Lord. Bah. Bah. So the Philistines were subdued, and they stopped invading Israel's territory. Throughout Samuel's lifetime, the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. The towns from Ekron to Gath that the Philistines had captured from Israel were restored to Israel, and Israel delivered the neighboring territory from the hands of the Philistines. And there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel continued as Israel's leader all the days of his life. From year to year he went on a circuit, from Bethel to Gilgal to Mizpah, judging Israel in all those places. But he always went back to Ramah, where his home was, and he also held a court for Israel, and he built an altar there to the Lord. When Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as Israel's leaders. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and his name of his second was Abijah, and they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not follow his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain and accepted bribes and perverted justice. That's not good. So all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, "You are old, and your sons do not follow your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have." But when they said, "Give us a king to lead us," this displeased Samuel. So he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told him, "Listen to all the people that are saying to you, it is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king. As they have done from this day from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly, and let them know what the king who will reign over them will claim as his rights. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "This is what the king who will reign over you will claim as his right. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses, and they will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and others to plow his grounds and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. He will take 1/10 of your grain and of your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants. Your male and female servants and the best of your cattle and donkeys he will take for his own use. He will take 1/10 of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When the day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you in that day." But the people refused to listen to Samuel. "No," they said, "we want a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations, with a king to lead us, and to go out before us and fight our battles." When Samuel heard all the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. The Lord answered, "Listen to them and give them a king." Then Samuel said to the Israelites, "Everyone go back to your own town." There was a Benjaminite, a man of standing, whose name was Kish, son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, the son of Becheroth, the son of Aphiah of Benjamin. Kish had a son named Saul, as handsome a young man as could be found anywhere in Israel, and he was a head taller than anyone else. Now the donkeys belonging to Saul's father Kish were lost, and Kish said to his son Saul, "Take one of the servants with you, and go look for the donkeys." So he passed through the hill country of Ephraim, and through the area around Shalisha, but they did not find them. They went on into the district of Shalim, but the donkeys were not there. Then he passed through the territory of Benjamin, but they did not find them. When they reached the district of Zuph, Saul said to his servant who was with him, "Come, let's go back, or my father will stop thinking about the donkeys and start worrying about us." But the servant replied, "Look, in this town there is a man of God. He is highly respected, and everything he says comes true. Let's go there now. Perhaps he will tell us what way to take." Saul said to his servant, "If we go, what can we give the man? The food in our sacks is gone. We have no gift to take the man of God. What do we have?" The servant answered him again. "Look," he said, "I have 1/4 of a shekel of silver. I will give it to the man of God so that he will tell us what way to take." Brackets. Formerly in Israel, if someone went to inquire of God, they would say, "Come, let us go to the seer," because the prophet today used to be called a seer. "Good," Saul said to his servant. "Come, let's go." So they set out for the town where the man of God was. As they were going up the hill to the town, they met some younger women coming out to draw water. They asked them, "Is the seer here?" "He is," they answered. "He's ahead of you. Hurry now, he has just come to our town today, for the people have a sacrifice at the high place. As soon as you left the town, you will find them before he goes up to the high place to eat. The people will not begin eating until he comes, because he must bless the sacrifice. Afterward, those who are invited will eat. Go up now. You should find him about this time." They went up to the town, and as they were entering it, there was Samuel coming toward them on his way up to the high place. Now the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed this to Samuel. "About this time tomorrow, I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin. Anoint him ruler over my people Israel. He will deliver them from the hand of the Philistines. I have looked on my people, for their cry has reached me." When Samuel caught sight of Saul, the Lord said to him, "This is the man I spoke to you about. He will govern my people." Saul approached Samuel in the gateway and asked, "Would you please tell me where the seer house is?" "I am the seer," Samuel replied. "Go up ahead of me to the high place, for today you are to eat with me, and in the morning I will send you on your way, and will tell you all that it is in your heart. As for the donkeys you lost 3 days ago, do not worry about them. They have been found. And to whom is all the desire of Israel turned, if not to you and your whole family line?" Saul answered, "But I am not a Benjaminite, from the smallest tribe of Israel, and is not my clan the least of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Why do you say such a thing to me?" What did he say? "But I am not a... And to whom is all the desire of Israel turned? If not to you and your whole family line." I see. Then Samuel brought Saul and his servant into the hall, and seated them at the head of those who were invited, about 30 in number. Samuel said to the cook, "Bring up the niece of meat I gave you, and the one I told you to lay aside." So the cook took up the thigh with what was on it and set it in front of Saul. Samuel said, "Here is what has been kept from you. Eat, because it was set aside for you for this occasion from the time I said, 'I have invited guests.'" And Saul dined with Samuel that day. Saul dined with Samuel that day. After they came down from the high place to the town, Samuel talked with Saul on the roof of his house. They arose about daybreak, and Samuel called to Saul on the roof, "Get ready, I will send you on your way." When Saul got ready, he and Samuel went outside together. As they were going down to the edge of the town, Samuel said to Saul, "Tell the servant to go on ahead of us." And the servant did so. "But you stay here a while, so that I may give you a message from God." Then Samuel took a flask of olive oil and poured it on Saul's head and kissed him, saying, "Has not the Lord appointed you ruler over his inheritance? When you leave me today, you will meet 2 men near Rachel's tomb." Who? Rachel's tomb. Who is Rachel? "At Zelzah, on the border of Benjamin. They will say to you, 'The donkeys you set out to look for have been found, and now your father has stopped thinking about them and is worried about you. He is asking, "What shall I do about my son?" Then you will go on from there until you reach the great tree of Tabor. 3 men going up to worship God at Bethel will meet you there. One will be carrying 3 young goats, another 3 loaves of bread, and another a skin of wine. They will greet you and offer you 2 loaves of bread, which you will accept from them. After that you will go to Gibeah of God, where there is a Philistine outpost. As you approach the town, you will meet a procession of prophets coming down from the high place, with lyres, timbrels, pipes, and harps being played before them, and they will be prophesying. The Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will prophesy with them, and you will be changed into a different person. Once these signs are fulfilled, do whatever your hand finds to do, for God is with you. Go down ahead of me to Gilgal. I will surely come down to you to sacrifice burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. But you must wait 7 days until I come to you and tell you what you are to do. As Saul turned to leave Samuel, God changed Saul's heart. And all these signs were fulfilled that day. When he and his servants arrived at Gibeah, a procession of prophets met him. The Spirit of God came powerfully upon him, and he joined in their prophesying. When all those who had formerly known him saw prophesying with the prophets, they asked each other, "What is this that has happened to the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets?" A man who lived there answered, "And who is their father?" So it became a saying, Is Saul also among the prophets? Like a meme? It became a saying? Who says that? Is Saul also among the prophets? Is that a say? Who says that? After Saul stopped prophesying, he went to the high place. Now Saul's uncle asked him and his servant, "Where have you been? Looking for the donkeys." "Looking for the donkeys," he said. "But when we saw they were not to be found, we went to Samuel." Saul's uncle said, "Tell me what Samuel said to you." Saul replied, "He assured us that the donkeys had been found, but he did not tell his uncle what Samuel said about the kingship." Samuel summoned the people of Israel to the Lord at Mizpah and said to them, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought Israel up out of Egypt, and I delivered you from the power of Egypt and all the kingdoms that oppressed you. But you have now rejected your God, who saves you out of all your disasters and calamities. And you have said, 'No, appoint a king over us.' So now present yourselves before the Lord, by your tribes and clans." When Samuel had all Israel come forward by tribes, the tribe of Benjamin was taken by Lot. And he brought forward the tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan, and Matri's clan was taken. Finally Saul, son of Kish, was taken. But when they looked for him, he was not to be found. So they inquired further of the Lord, "Has the man come here yet?" And the Lord said, "Yes, he has hidden himself among the suppliers." They ran and brought him out, and as he stood among the people, he was a head taller than any of the others. Samuel said to all the people, "Do you see the man the Lord has chosen? There is no one like him among the people." Then the people shouted, "Long live the king!" How can you hear that? How can you hear what God said? What did he say? He said, "You have rejected your God because you want a king to serve over you and not the Lord. You have forsaken the Lord." How do you then as a people decide, "You know what? I don't want to follow the Lord, the omnipotent, all-powerful being. I want to follow the man, the single man who we appoint as a ruler to tell us what to do. Like, is that not just insane behavior? Samuel explained to the people the rights and duties of kingship. He wrote them down on a scroll and deposited it before the Lord. Then Samuel dismissed the people to go to their own homes. Saul went to his home in Gibeah, accompanied by valiant men whose hearts God has touched. But some scoundrels said, "How can this fellow save us?" Yet again, the Israelites were bad people. Well, they're trying their hardest. But some scoundrels said, "How can this fellow save us?" They despised him and brought him no gifts, but Saul kept silent. Nahash, the Amorite, went up and besieged Jabesh Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said to him, "Make a treaty with us, and we will be subject to you." But Nahash the Amorite replied, "I will make a treaty with you, only on the condition that I gouge out the right eye of every one of..." What? Besieged? Nahash the Amorite went up to besiege, and all the men of Jabesh said to him, "Make a treaty with us, and we will be subject to you." But Nahash replied, "I will make a treaty with you, only on the condition that I gouge out the right eye of every one of you, and so bring disgrace on all Israel." That is insane. There's no way they agreed to that. The elders of Jabesh said to him, "Give us 7 days so we can send messages throughout Israel. If no one comes to rescue us, we will surrender to you." Sometimes when you're the movers and shakers in the world, you make a mistake. Well, God gave the people the list of rules and told them what to do. But then they didn't want that, but actually wanted just a man to tell them what to do, which is crazy. When the messengers came to Gibeah of Saul and reported these terms to the people, they all wept aloud. Just then Saul was returning from the fields behind his oxen, and he asked, "What is wrong with everybody? Why are they weeping?" Then they repeated to him what the man of Jabesh had said. When Saul heard his words, the Spirit of God came powerfully upon them, and he burned with anger. He took a pair of oxen, cut them into pieces, and sent the pieces by messengers throughout Israel, proclaiming, "This is what will be done to the oxen of everyone who does not follow Saul and Samuel." Then the terror of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out together as one. Wait, so does God like Saul now? God made Saul a king. Wait. I thought God hated Saul because the people wanted Saul instead of him. And as a jealous God, our God who is a jealous God, would be upset at the people wanting a king, no? But when Saul mustered them at Bezek, the men of Israel numbered 300,000 and those of Judah 30,000. They told the messengers who had come, Say to the men of Jabesh Gilead, by the time the sun is hot tomorrow, you will be rescued. When the messengers went up and reported this to the men of Jabesh, they were elated. They said to the Ammonites, tomorrow we will surrender to you. And you can do this to us, whatever you like. The next day Saul separated his men into 3 divisions. During the last watch of the night, they broke into the camp of the Ammonites and slaughtered them until the heat of the day. Those who survived were scattered, so that no 2 of them were left together. The people then said to Samuel, who was it that asked, shall Saul reign over us? Turn these men over so that we may put them to death. What? The people then said to Samuel, who was it that asked, shall Saul reign over us? But Saul said, no one will be put to death today, for this day the Lord has rescued Israel. Then Samuel said to the people, come, let us go to Gilgal, and there renew the kingship. So all the people went to Gilgal, and made Saul king in the presence of the Lord. They sacrificed fellowship offerings before the Lord, and Saul and all the Israelites held a great celebration. Samuel said to Israel, I have listened to everything you had said to me, and have set a king over you. Now you have a king as your leader. As for me, I am old and grey, and my sons are here with you. I have been your leader from my youth until this day. Here I stand, testify against me in the presence of the Lord and his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Whose donkey have I taken? Whom have I cheated? Whom have I oppressed? From whose hand have I accepted a bribe to make me shut my eyes? If I have done any of these things, I will make it right. You have not cheated or oppressed us, they replied. You have not taken anything from anyone's hand. Samuel said to them, the Lord is witness against you, and also his anointed is witness to this day, that you have not found anything in my hand. He is my husband. Then Samuel said to the people, it is the Lord who appointed Moses and Aaron. Aaron? Who is Aaron? I don't remember Aaron. Moses and Aaron, and brought your ancestors up out of Egypt. Now then, stand here, because I am going to confront you with... They just made up a person. There was no Aaron. Stand here, because I am going to confront you with the evidence before the Lord, as to all the righteous acts performed by the Lord for you and your ancestors. After Jacob entered Egypt, they cried out to the Lord for help, and the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought your ancestors up out of Egypt and settled them in this place. Oh, is Aaron Miriam's brother? I think so. But they forgot the Lord their God, so he sold them into the hand of Sisera. Who? The commander of the army of Hazor. Oh. And into the hands of the Philistines and the king of Moab, who fought against them. They cried out to the Lord and said, we have sinned. We have forsaken the Lord and served the Baals and the Ashtaroths. But now deliver us from the hands of our enemies, and we will serve you. Oh, this time for sure they'll serve him. Then the Lord said to Jerubbaal, Barak, Jephthah, and Samuel, and he delivered you from the hands of your enemies all around you, so that you lived in safety. But when you saw that Nahash, king of the Amorites, was moving against you, you said to me, 'No, we want a king to rule over us, even though the Lord God, your God, was your king. Now here is the king you have chosen, the one you asked for. See, the Lord has set a king over you. If you fear the Lord and serve and obey him, and do not rebel against his commands, and if both you and the king who reigns over you follow the Lord your God, good. But if you do not obey the Lord, and if you rebel against his commands, his hand will be against you, as it was against your ancestors. Now then, stand still and see this great thing the Lord is about to do before your eyes. Is it not wheat harvest now? I will call the Lord to send thunder and rain, and you will realize. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What was that? Hello? What was that? Hello? Did you see that? What happened? There it is. Hi, River. Good morning.
Rose is yum. Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thank you for your tithe for the church. Good morning. We're king, and you realize thunder and rain, and you will realize what an evil thing you did in the eyes of the Lord when you asked for a king. Then Samuel called on the Lord, and that same day the Lord sent thunder and rain, so all the people stood in awe of the Lord and Samuel. The people all said to Samuel, "Pray to the Lord your God for your servants, so that we will not die. For we have added to our other sins the evil of asking for a king." What? So God put in the work. God put in all of the work to make a king, and then was like, if I make thunder and rain, then you will realize that I actually don't like when you make a king. And then everybody's like, "Oh God, king, we shouldn't have done that." Shouldn't have done that. You're just a boy. Do not be afraid, Samuel replied. You have done all this evil. Yet do not turn away from the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. Do not turn away after useless idols. They can do you no good, nor can they rescue you, because they are useless. For the sake of his great name, the Lord will not reject his people, because the Lord was pleased to make you his own. As for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord by failing to pray for you, and I will teach you the way that is good and right. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you. Yet if you persist in doing evil, both you and your king will perish. I think that's a good time to stop. They're on doing other things now. Wow. So Saul became king. Wow. Thank you, Lord. You did it. Another successful convincing of the people to follow you and not break and not go against you. How long will they keep this one up? Maybe one generation or 2 generations, maybe even 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We'll see. On the next episode of Total Drama Bible. Wow. Boom. Wow, what a great session. I hope you enjoyed today's sermon, brought to you by God, because we wouldn't have Bible sermons without God. Bible. Lucky it's Bible and not TikTok. Wow, good day. Yeah.